Whichever's got one of my screwdrivers.
Come here. Just go get it. Tell them no bite. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Sunday evening. Scott Tyndall's home shop. Tira's in there chasing the dog down. Done grabbed one of her screwdrivers. And has run off with it. So there you go. I am in the middle of a dilemma. Excuse me for leaning down in front of the camera. I didn't realize that I was going to be moving all this stuff. I hit the live button and it went live faster than I thought it was going to. Alright, let me move y'all over here and show y'all something. Now, we're going to let's get a few more people in here and let's get a little light on the subject. There we go. Tara, if you can bring me some gloves in here, dear. Y'all excuse me just a minute. Let me step in there and see if I can get the screwdriver from the dog. Alright, I'm already here. Get my glasses on where I can see. There you are. You're right there. No, right there. Yeah, see, we got any rubber gloves?
We do.
Give me a pair of rubber gloves. I'm having trouble with Tara's lathe. And as you can see, I got the spindle out. Parts over here. Got a tooth with a sun gear with a tooth busted off of it. I don't know why. They put on these gloves because I really don't want to get my hands all filthy nasty. Now, I am set. Hopefully, this isn't going in and out, but I'm sitting 5 feet away from the box. And the fan you hear in the background is the air conditioner. Alright, so here's, oh Lord mercy, my light you got covered in oil. I've taken this lathe apart a dozen times to oil it, grease it, service it. Tara and I have had no problems with it. And all of a sudden today I went to take it apart and it wouldn't come apart. Don't know why. But anyway, that's not the problem. The problem is trying to get the light behind me so you can see. Problem is this line right here, these recesses or these cutouts are where the dog in the sun gear, in the sun gear goes. Or is that the ring? These are planets. Sun gear, planet gear. Okay. Where that little dog in there, that little dog right there, catches in these grooves. And then you just have straight drive for the whatever pulley you're running on. Well, this thing, and it's really hard, there's a lip right here. This thing has backed out and won't stay. It doesn't go that way anyway. I may be able to get it back in there. It'll go in there now, but it's not lining up. Let's see if I can find the sun gear, the groove here, right there. it's only catching about on the first 2% of it. I don't know if there was a spacer, if that's the wrong one. If you can see that, here I'll turn a little bit sideways. You can see this part right here, and then you can see way down in there in that hole. You can see that dog, and you can see just how little that is. All right, what the problem is this thing backs off about that much. And there's a collar over there that keeps all this pushed together, and it just slides off. Now, I think I can solve the sliding problem with a spring. I'll put a spring in there, and when I put it back together, plus the locking collar, that'll keep it all pushed forward towards this end of the headstock, which is facing the lathe, or in the forward position, because back gears is on the back. My problem is how do I need to get more engagement, because that pin looks like it's been sheared off a little bit, but there's metal in there. And I didn't know if somebody may have a gear, but somebody may have this. Another, hold on, let me finish that. Let me finish that topic, or finish that sentence. Something got in there and broke that off. Now that's half the gear. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to get over there and see. And that's not going to take much before that breaks off. Now, what I have found out is this is a back gear. All of these gears are splined with the double splines in them. I mean, keep broach keyways there, and they're numbered, and there's a 36. They're all the same, but that's a 33 tooth or a 33 tooth. And so I mean, I could order a set of gears if I can find a set of back gears and get that gear. My problem is the bearing up front. This is a tapered bearing, and it should stick out of the headstock a little bit. And then when you run the nut down on the back, when you run this nut down, it pulls that into a tapered hole. The headstock hole is tapered, and obviously the shaft isn't, and it closes down on that, and hole just takes the play out of the shaft. Well, the brand new one that I bought, it tells you in the instructions. I have a manual for this lathe that you turn it by hand. You put it in freewheel. In other words, take the dog out where all you're turning is a chuck, and you tighten up the bearing until you feel a slight drag on it, and that's it, no more. Well, what this one decided to do, what the new one decided to do, and I don't know why, this one right here, it decided to just grab the nut and run all the way up to the end and suck the bearing all the way up in there. So I'm going back with the old bearing. The title of this thing is Need Advice. I should have titled it Need Help. Does anybody have I don't know what you call it, a gear train for a Craftsman 109 lathe? If I'm not mistaken, I think what holds this pulley on, or bearing on, I'll get the right thing here in a minute, this gear. Oh, that's made onto it. Or is it? Yeah. See, I have, on this pulley gear, I have teeth that are chipped. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's hard to see. This is a cell phone, not a high-dollar camera. And I seen somebody say, hold on, I'm not going anywhere. Some of them are chipped. And I think what happened is whatever piece of metal got in there went around in the planet gears. Better ask here. um, but this right here, for all intents and purposes, this rides up against this with the planet gear inside of here. You're funny. Well, you know, a lot of machinists aren't mechanics. A lot of mechanics aren't machinists. So my question is this. And then you got this, and then on the other end of the shaft, you have this two-piece nut, this half nut, or this two-piece collar that goes around and presses up against that. And you have to press all this together. Thank you, Eric. You have to press all this together. Well, what this does is no matter how tight I press this together and tighten this collar down, this backs off to about right there. And it doesn't keep this pushed all the way up in here. This goes up in here like this. See? Goes in. Let's see if I can get it rolled around. Come on, roll around. Ah. And pushed all the way up in there. You can see right there you can see that it doesn't catch. But right at the very back. So if this moves over just a least little bit. Now you gotta remember this thing is wobbling on the shaft. I mean, it's not running that true. And this just pushes off and it just jumps around the dog. So, I don't know. Question is, how do I go? The sun gear has got chips in it. The pinion gear is made onto the pulley, I believe. If not, it's pressed onto that bushing. I just can't see that being the case. I think it's made on because even no press fit would drive that hard. So I think it's part of it. I need all three pieces. Now, I didn't know if somebody may have had one of these Craftsman 109 lathes sitting around on a shelf in their basement that they weren't going to do anything with and would like to donate it. Because Terry and I make lots of stuff on this lathe. We've made bushings for our lawnmowers on it. We made a part for a sewing machine on it. I made part to fix the hammock in the hammock video on it. So there's my plea. As far as this bushing right here, I may put some bearing compound in there. See, that bushing's turned. Well, you can't see that, but the bushing is turned, and there's a groove scratched around. There's a groove scratched around the inside of the bore on the headstock. So my problem is that this bushing shouldn't turn. And I've cleaned it when I put it up in there before. And this bushing should not turn when it goes in there. This one doesn't turn. But the new one, it doesn't. When you try to run the thread up on there, it just spins the bearing inside the headstock. It just spins this bearing. This bronze bearing. And I bought it off of eBay. Maybe I got what I paid for. So, I don't know. And I even bought a brand new shaft. And I wasn't thinking, but I mean it I don't know what's, and we're not cutting anything on this lathe. We're not cutting anything but brass and aluminum. And a little bit of steel we cut's a couple of little 1/4-inch pins We haven't. Oh, my red shirt's really washing out. Let me. There we go. Can y'all see me? Oh, that's messing it up. Ooh, that's worse. All right, well y'all can see me. All right, so if anybody has any parts to a Craftsman 109 lathe, or if anybody knows anybody, well, all right by me. So that's one. So it's a Craftsman 109, and as you can see, we do use it. Whoops, about dropped y'all on the floor. We do use it. It turns out many chips. But the drivetrain on it doesn't pop the tooth off. Two teeth. And now, so there you go. So, as always, we are still on vacation. Maybe that video about taking a break, I didn't mean for it to be a misleading. We are going to take a break. We are taking a break. Just that there's sometimes things that we can accomplish. Light out of my eye. There are things that we can accomplish. Where were you on Sunday? There were things that accomplished. See, I get sidetracked. That we could accomplish in a few minutes or 10, 15 minutes. And some of those videos looks like, oh, it's a 30-minute video. Yeah, but it took 3 days to film. So that's my plea. Is the lathe. It's a Craftsman 109. If anybody out there sees this video and you have the pulley and the planetary gear set, back gear and all that, it all comes as one unit. If you have an old lathe sitting around somewhere that's been dropped and broken or whatever and it's in your way, get in touch with me. Just leave me a message on this video and I'll put my email up there once it posts. So thanks everybody for watching. Y'all have a good night. And remember, be kind to one another. See ya.